Hey guys, before we get into this video, there's something personal I need to share with you. Something pretty tragic has recently happened to us, and it's going to affect the amount of videos that I produce. But I wanted to let you guys know up front because a lot of people get concerned and, they wonder, hey, what's going on? So just this past Saturday, my little granddaughter, Lizzie, was diagnosed with leukemia. And it's been pretty devastating. You can go through life thinking, hey, life's not so bad, and then just boom, it hits you with something that you're just not expecting. So Trish and I are going to be spending a lot of time with the family trying to help them, and that's probably going to take away a lot of time producing content for you. But I want to let you know also, we set up a GoFundMe page for Lizzie, and if you guys can contribute, I'd really appreciate it. If you can't, I totally get it. We live in a pretty crazy time where inflation's taken over, gas prices, food prices are high, so I completely understand. If you can't do anything but just share, the video, the GoFundMe page, I've got a little video on there. We're going to constantly give updates. I really appreciate everybody who's already contributed. We did a little research. Leukemia is, when they treat it, it's very, very expensive. $311,000 to $649,000 or something. There's an average in between there. But I really appreciate everybody who's contributed to the GoFundMe. If you can't do anything, I understand. But if you can share the GoFundMe link, I'd really appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and get into the video. Tim Pool was recently highly criticized for commenting on Volodymyr Zelensky's appeal to the European Union through his emotionally driven translator. Tim Pool commented, "I hate appeals to emotion." My question is, don't you hate appeals to emotion too, if they lead us to war? Hey guys, study after study shows that if you want strong bones and muscles, healthy hair, skin, teeth, and nails, you need the 5 types of collagen in your diet. I get mine from BioTrust. I've got a link in the description with a massive discount, and it'll tell you all about it.
The last thing I want to talk about right now tonight, and I think it's still trending. Let me just show you. It is trending as we do this live stream, and that is Tim Pool, podcast host and political commentator. Tim Pool reacts to an emotional speech made by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to the European Parliament. We're going to watch that in a second. Actually, you know what? Let's watch that now. Here's the actual, what Tim Pool said was, "I despise appeals to emotion." Now, instead of asking Tim Pool what he means by this, and guys, I'm not I don't really watch Tim Pool stuff. If somebody shows me, they'll give me a blurb and go, "What do you think about what Tim Pool said about this?" Like he's positive for the VAXX and all that kind of stuff. And then he has, on the other side of it, he has some legitimate criticism and brings out some good points. But for the most part, this isn't about me being for or against Tim Pool. It's, what did you mean by "I despise appeals to emotion"? Because if what you mean by that is appeals of emotion that tend to lead us down the wrong direction, I got no problem with that. CNN says, "We desire to see our children alive. I think it's a fair one." And the emotional plea comes from the EU translator when he translates his Zelensky's Ukrainian into English for the British or the European Parliament. The translator starts getting choked up. And we'll hear that here in a second. But who is addressing who? First of all, we got an actor / comedian. I mean, we already know he's an actor / comedian. Okay. We already know that his campaign was heavily funded by allied forces, NATO, the United States military industrial complex, and all that kind of stuff. Apparently he won 70% to 30% or whatever, won. But if you have outside forces and influencers with massive amounts of money contributing to your campaign, the likelihood that the NATO forces will get the guy they want set up in Ukraine is awfully, awfully high. So you can't call Ukraine a democracy. You can't call it free and fair elections or whatever. That's why this guy's sitting here. So you got Zelensky, an actor / comedian set up by NATO forces with all the funding that they had behind them, talking to the European Parliament of parasitic puppets. Okay. So you got bad guy talking to bad guys. And that is the framework. That is the scene that's unfolding before us as I push play here.
What am We are fighting just for our land and for our freedom. Despite the fact that all large cities of our country are now blocked.
Now, by the way, it's not Zelensky. I just want to reiterate, it's not Zelensky getting emotional here. It's the translator translating Ukrainian into English who's getting emotional.
Nobody is going to enter and intervene with our freedom and country. And believe you me, every square of today, no matter what it's called, it's going to be called, as today, Freedom Square in every city of our country. Nobody's going to break us. We're strong. We're Ukrainians. We have a desire to see our children alive. I think it's a fair one. Yesterday, 16 children were killed. Again and again, President Putin is going to say that is some kind of operation and we are hitting a military infrastructure. Where are our children? What kind of military factories do they work at? What tanks are they going with? Or launching cruise missiles? He killed 16 people just yesterday. Dear, our people are very much motivated, very much so. We are fighting for our rights, for our freedoms, for life, for our life. And now we're fighting for survival. And this is the highest of our motivation. But we are fighting also to be equal members of Europe. I believe that today we are showing everybody that's exactly what we are. The European Union is going to be much stronger with us, so that's for sure. Without you, Ukraine is going to be lonely, lonesome. We have proven our strength. We have proven that, as at a minimum, we are exactly the same as you are. So do prove that you are with us. Do prove that you will not let us go. Do prove that you indeed are Europeans. And then life will win over death, and light will win over darkness. Glory be to Ukraine.
And he gets a standing ovation now. All right, so the standing ovation keeps on going, but Tim Pool basically says, hey, I despise appeals to emotion. Well, I do too. If we're talking about using appeals of emotion to spend more money, and in our case, it'd be transgenerational debt slavery. If you really cared about kids, if you really cared about children, including your future unborn children, the children you have now, the grandchildren you'll have now, and your unborn children, you won't want to go to war, and you won't want to support Ukraine, and you won't want to support Russia, and you want to stay out of all that stuff, which is none of our business. That's what you would want to do. But people are like, Ethan Klein here says, Tim Pool just called Zelensky a beta for asking Russia to stop killing Ukrainian kids. I think that's unfair. I think that is unfair. I wouldn't say that he's saying that. I would say that is the appeal being made on the basis of emotion so that they can slip in the World Economic Forum, Great Reset, Fourth Industrial Revolution, Klaus Schwab, you'll own nothing and be happy, social credit system, digital currency deal. If that's true, then I despise appeals of emotion too. Don't you? If they're using fallen children, if indeed that's what happened according to reports or whatever, if they're using fallen children and appeals to emotion to try to drive that World Economic Forum Great Reset thing into reality, don't you despise it too? If you don't now, you will then. Tim Pool isn't, let's see. This is what's under Tim Pool's beanie. They're just people completely slamming the guy. I don't even know who you are, but I think that I'm beginning to despise you. Tim Pool trending for all the wrong reasons. A J in the 40s. I hope my children don't go to concentration camps. I think that's fair. A time-traveling Tim Pool. I despise appeals to emotion. This guy says, guy cries because his home is being bombed into oblivion by invaders. Tim Pool, stop trying to justify U.S. intervention. There is no justification for United States intervention into another foreign conflict. Why? Because of the children. If you want to use, if he can use children, I can use children. You can do it without emotional appeal and just say no. First of all, we can't afford it. Our children and grandchildren and our future unborn posterity can't afford it. The bankers, every war, if it's true that every war is a banker war, we can't afford that. So leave your thought. Do you agree with Tim Pool? Are there some questions we haven't asked here? Are there different angles we need to take a look at? And what my question would be, in what way do you despise appeals to emotion? Because if what you mean by that is I despise the appeals of emotion that try to get people operating on this lower frequency emotional plane than the higher frequency knowledge and truth plane, and they're doing this in order to slip in some nefarious things into our world so that the oligarchs can gain more power over us and we can become more enslaved, then I agree with him that I despise appeals to emotion as well. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below.
Hey guys, we know with the way things have been going, it can get really interesting really quick. So make sure you and your family have a long-term storable food supply. Support the channel and get $50 off with my link in the description while you still can.